Do you wish somebody wrote down the recipe for your parenting challenges? Did you want tips and tricks to become a better mama for you and your babies? I know I do. If you're a mother who feels that you are doing the best you can with the hands you've been dealt, but you're still getting it done, then this podcast is for you. I'm so glad you tuned in to Nailed It Motherhood because we might have the recipe that nobody wrote down. What's up, everybody? You're listening to Nailed It Motherhood Podcast, and I'm your host with the most, Tamara Eldridge. Listeners, I am very excited about today's episode, but before I give you a little bit too much about who my guests are today, I want to remind you that I have a website. It is www.naileditmotherhood.com. On that website, you can subscribe to be a member of the podcast family and get updates and news when we're about to do something special or whenever a new episode has been released. You can also listen to the podcast directly on the website, or you can listen on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and many other platforms. I want to thank you so far for being committed to the show. I'm loving all the feedback that I'm getting, and trust and believe I have a lot more in store for you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I completely appreciate anyone who takes the time to listen to my fantastic guest. Now, listeners, you are in for a real treat today. Or maybe you can judge me a little because I brought my sisters on and we might have a slight argument. But today, my sisters are here on Nailed It Motherhood Podcast. Well, 3 of the 4 girls will be representing today. But don't worry, because our older sister did contribute to the show. So today is a special because this is the Mother's Day special where my sisters and I get to honor the beautiful queen that raised us. So mamas, papas, grandmas, and the village, welcome to the show, Tiara and Tasha.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for having us. I'm excited to be here with you guys today.
Hey. Tasha, do you want to share anything else or just, hey, y'all?
Just hey, y'all.
Okay, hey, girl. Well, instead of doing bios today, I decided that I would let my sisters introduce each other. I'm going to start in chronological order because it's not just 3 of us. So I'm going to introduce our older sister, the one who made my mom, Phyllis, a mother. So I want to say, Tiffany, we love you. We wish that you wanted to be on the show with us, but we get it. It's not your shtick, and that's quite all right. But Tiffany is the oldest of 4 of us, and she's quiet, and she's really the quiet storm. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Because if you make her mad, it's a different Tiffany. But Tiffany has all the love in the world. She loves being with the kids. I mean, like, she's the family babysitter, so we have to give her credit for that, right?
Shout out to her.
Accurate.
Because she lets us have a life because she just loves them that much. So, Tiffany, thank you so much. You will hear a couple answers from Tiffany because I asked her a couple questions before the show. So she's still part of the conversation. So you can act like you know what she looks like and you know what she sounds like, and she's a part of our conversation. Well, you know me as your host, and I am daughter number 2 in the lineup. So, hey, y'all, I'm Tamara, Tammy, Tam, whatever you want to call me. But let's move on to Tiara. I'm going to actually throw the mic to Tasha. And Tasha, can you tell us who Tiara is?
That's my best friend. She a real bad chick. Tiara is the 3rd born of Phyllis's girl. She's really my best friend. She's the fashionista of the crew. Well, her and Tammy's, it's up and up with them too. But
We have
But
different
yeah,
fashion senses, but
what you say?
she's bad with the fashion. I'm not gonna take away her credit.
I mean, y'all both
Tammy,
get in your bag in
you
different
up there
ways.
too? Yeah, we just got different senses of fashion style, but we up there.
Right. Well, thank you for introducing Tiara to the show, Tasha. Now, Tiara, can you return the favor and tell us who Tasha is?
Of course, of course. So, like she kind of gave a little, glimpse into, Tasha is the baby of the crew. Tasha is actually a twin as well. Unfortunately, our twin passed whenever she was a baby, 2 months old. But, me and Tasha are very close. That's my best friend. We are the closest in age, so we've spent a lot of our time together growing up and over the years, just building our friendship and our sisterhood. We hang with the same group of people, and Tasha was the first one to kind of bring a sense of motherhood to our immediate family. So I will give her that special credit that kind of segued us into Tammy creating this podcast today.
Yes. And actually, speaking of me creating the podcast, Tasha actually had a lot to do with my creation of the podcast because
What?
I know, did I ever tell you this? We're not going to get emotional.
No.
Because I was able to watch her and how she handled herself as a mother when I had first moved to Pittsburgh. And, I watched you, I watched Quay, I watched my neighbor at the school, and I listened to all of your stories. And when I always reference talking to mothers, it was the three of you who really made me say, I think people need to hear these stories. And I think people need to know that they're not alone in this challenge called motherhood. So you guys are actually the reason that the hood was created.
Don't make me cry.
Nailed It Motherhood Podcast. Originated by Tasha, Quay, and just kidding.
Brought to you by Tamara.
Yes. Thank you, ladies, for introducing. You guys are tight. So tight that you guys used to wear the same ish clothes often, and you kind of still do. And I'm sure don't act like y'all. I remember
No,
the
we
jersey
do because we're going.
specifically.
We had got some clothes for a trip we're going on, and guess what? We accidentally got the same dress, but I got mine first. So you're right.
I was gonna say she definitely still tries to, be in the closet. I peek in her closet when I need to, and like she said, we purchased the same dress recently, so that's still to this day.
And y'all be trying to size up my clothes as if I'm just going to take it off my back and give it to you too. So
Absolutely. I still need that dress from Easter.
Nah, brah. Okay, so we're going to move on to our Tavi Tale time. And before we get into the Tavi Tale, because you guys are Tavia's aunties, I would like to give you both an opportunity to share a brief Tavia moment with the listeners. I've had people tell me that this is their favorite part of the show. And I mean, of course it is, because that's the reason that I'm a mother, but like, I'm doing all the work. So can we give my credit, please? Thank you. But anyway, so I'm going to go first while you guys think about a story that you would like to share. Don't embarrass my child. Okay. But my story is going to be very, very, very short. So please be ready and on deck. So my story is when we first moved to Pittsburgh, and there was a period where we went to like Five Below or something. And I let both of the kids run around, Tav and Ryan. And I let them run around and grab a toy. And Ryan decided that she wanted to get a fake tongue. And it was like a real rubber, like it looked like it was real. It was just a dry tongue. So Ryan was playing with this tongue in the car and sticking it out and saying, Tav, pull my tongue, pull my tongue. So we get to the house. We're all chilling in the living room. Ryan's laying on the floor. She has the tongue in her mouth. And Tav can barely walk, let alone run at this point. Because she was like, she had to have been one if she was even one, because this was right when we moved to Pittsburgh. So Ryan's like, Tav, pull my tongue, pull my tongue. And so Tavia comes over and she snatches the tongue out of Ryan's mouth. And Ryan starts screaming and saying, oh my God, and Tav is waddling real fast out the room like a little penguin with waving Ryan's tongue in the air. And I just was like, oh my God, what did I get into? What did I get into by having this crazy child, A, and B, by bringing her to her crazy cousin? Because the two of them together
is a mess.
They are something else. So, I mean, we need to start our own production company so we can put them in it and make them the stars of the production company. But, all right, so that's my Tavi tale. Who wants to go first?
We'll let Tiara go first.
Okay. Okay. It's hard to pick a story because Tavia, although she's only 4, is so full of personality and just, she's a character. She brings so much joy to everybody. She always has some shenanigans going on. So it's just hard to pick one story. The one I could think of, and I want to keep it appropriate because I don't know how, the age range of listeners, is when we were in Jamaica last May, and she pulled the inserts out from Tasha pulled her inserts out from her swimsuit, and Tavia's seen them, and she's seen how big the inserts were. We're a little hefty around here, and so Tavia was just running around the room screaming, "Boobies!
No, she said
big boobs, big boobs." I'll never let her live that down, because that right there is just a prime example of Tavia and how much just character, and she's quick with it. She's witty, she's funny, she's intelligent, and she's going to make you laugh.
My child. I have no comment.
Yeah.
Now I have to mark this show as explicit. It's like
that was my favorite. That was my favorite.
All right, Tasha, your turn.
I have 2 that come to mind. One is real quick. Well, both of them are real quick. But the one was when we were coming back from Grandma's house and Tammy drove, and she kept telling me, your mama. So me and her got into it, and I said, well, your mom's going to have to pull over in a minute, okay?
I remember
the
that.
other time.
It was the way she was saying it, though.
Your mama.
She said, your mom. Oh, yeah, she said mama at that time.
Yeah. When we went to Sandcastle and we met up with our cousins and everything, and the girls were having a good time, and Tavia found another Black family and just hopped in their picture, okay? That girl is a socialite. She just wants to talk to everybody. Mm-hmm. Even when she was going to Ryan's softball game, she has to say hi to everybody. So, yeah, she's probably going to be like her mom and have a talk show somewhere.
I already said it. I said it in one of my episodes that she's going to have a podcast by the time she's 7, and then Ryan's going to be mad because I didn't make her a podcast, and Ryan's not even going to be on the podcast all bright and as witty as she is.
I think she might be a YouTube influencer, because we were recording that video and she was letting everybody know, subscribe to her channel, click on that button.
That's your fault.
Yeah.
She was mocking.
I can't. And I have the video to this day, and I can't wait to compare it whenever she's out there and excelling in life, making 6 figures as an influencer.
She already talks like an influencer, and it's super annoying. But we had to remove YouTube from the TV because it's too much.
Yeah, she can be introduced to that again later down the line.
Yep. Well, thank you for sharing these fantastic and goofy stories of my child. This is confirmation to all the listeners that I am not lying about anything that I say when I share stories about Tavia, because you would think I made these things up. But this is when I say every day, every day. I know y'all remember
All
that
day.
reference.
All
All
day.
the time. From sun up to sundown, my child is that. And I love her for it. So we're going to move on to being able to honor the one and only Phyllis Ann. So one of the first ideas that I had when I started Nailed It Motherhood was that I wanted to honor my mom in my parenting. She was truly fantastic, and I'm not going to talk about it right now because that's what this is for. But I wanted to make sure that my sisters were included in the conversation somehow, because I wasn't the only one who got to experience this phenomenal woman. And though she made me who I am, she also made them who they are as well. And they also made me who I am today, too. So we are going to make our herstory segment about Phyllis today. And yes, sometimes we do call Mommy Phyllis. So, especially when we're talking about her. And this is no disrespect. We did that when we grew up too, but we would never call her Phyllis to her face. She would
Absolutely not.
That we probably wouldn't be here today to tell the story. So
it'll be a bring me your mouth moment.
Oh yeah. Okay, so that's enough.
For that.
We're not introducing that.
It's a part of her story.
That's a good segue.
No, it's not a good segue. Anyway, so I have 3 general questions, and I just want to have a genuine dialogue with my sisters, which is something that I really don't think that we've done before, especially about my mom. So this is really going to be an experiment for all of us, and I kind of hope that they have their tissues nearby, because I just know somebody's going to say something. I don't know. We'll find out. But I'm a thug, so I'm not going to cry. So the first question that I'm going to ask, I guess I'm kind of starting heavy. And the first question is, what is your favorite memory of mommy? I'm going to start by reading Tiffany's answer, because Tiffany, although she is not on, she is still participating. So Tiffany's favorite moment is ironic because Tiffany does not drive today, and she's still like, we ask her, are you going to get a license? You want to get a car? But it's not something that she's pressed about. But Tiffany's favorite moment with mommy was when mommy pulled over and got out of the car and told Tiffany to drive. So she let Tiffany drive around the corner. I don't remember if I was in the car or not. So I don't even know. But, Tiffany, if you're listening, we encourage you to learn how to drive, because we need rides too. Shoot.
I think that moment might have been significant enough for her. She said, that's enough. I'm good.
Tasha, we'll start with you. What is your favorite memory of mommy?
One of my favorite memories of my mom is when we had guests come over for dinner and we didn't have dessert. So she went in the cabinet and got that Bisquick mix and some fruit cocktail and called herself making the dessert. It was terrible. But it was my mama.
And I knew that this was going to be the memory that you brought up, because
that's my favorite.
Yeah, that was top tier.
Oh my God. We don't always need something sweet to eat.
That was horrible. Never again.
Yeah, she was definitely experimental in the kitchen. But we got the Jell-O mold, the pretzel mold out of it, and I know that's not.
Pretzel salad, I don't eat that.
I like it. I think it's good. But that's not her thing. But like, you don't see that a lot. Well, you didn't see that a lot. I've heard a lot about it now, but That's something that Mama used to make all the
People
time.
still talk about it.
Yeah, we actually just had a friend ask us about her specific pretzel salad because that's how memorable it was.
All right, Tiara, what is your favorite memory?
Okay, so it's hard for me to think of just one memory. So can I just share
You always gotta share 18
I know,
memories.
but that just shows you how much of a, like how significant and that she was to us. And okay, so I'm just they're most of them are brief. And so her just whenever she was able to attend any of like our sporting events or just showing up to the plays and any of the activities that we were involved in, that's always going to be a top memory for me. Just being able to watch her in her element at church and standing in front, leading the choir, leading the praise team, her being my Sunday school teacher. I had a love-hate relationship with that, but looking back on it, it was one of my favorite memories just because it was kind of like a time for us to bond and to see her in just a different element. The one time, I don't even know what happened or how it led up to it, but she ended up falling out of the chair. The chair just like broke. It was a wooden chair. And she somehow, I think she was on the phone. She ended up falling and just like
Probably
sat there.
with Sister Sally.
Yeah. To this day, I have a picture of her sitting on the floor next to this wooden chair. So that's always going to be one of my favorable memories. And then the last one that probably holds the most weight to me was because it was around the time that she passed, was me and her sitting in the living room and watching the Clark sisters. They had an album that they had just recently released and they did like an actual live show of the concert. So me and her sat and watched the whole thing from start to finish. And then like at the end, she just looked at me and she was like, "You really like the Clark sisters. You really like this album. Like, I'm just really surprised you sat here and watched this whole thing with me." And I was like, yeah, like I love them. So that was just, we were able to bond, and that was probably the most significant for me that I'll hold closest to me.
Because you was trying to be like Twinkie and take the lead. Yeah, so that a lot of those memories are some of my favorite. What'd you say?
I said, well, what's yours?
I'm getting there. Those were a lot of my favorites. So I think that I kind of just forgot what I was going to say. Dag on it. Dang, I forgot my favorite memory, but my last memory of her, one of my last memories of her was when I was at college and I was playing a song because I was in a group and I was playing a song of one of our live performances. And she was like, "Is that you?" And I was like, "No, that is not me." And then she got real deep and let all this like prophetic word out that was actually about when she left. And it was like only a couple months before she died. I'm not going to say, I probably will never say publicly what she told me because I still don't want the responsibility of what she said. But that's one of the most memorable memories that I've had with her. But I also really just enjoyed driving with her whenever I was going to Penn State, because that was time for us to bond. So,
did she have her foot out the window?
It wasn't her foot. It was her hand.
No, she would drive with her foot
She
up
used
on the
to have her
dashboard.
foot out the window or out the dashboard.
She never had her shoes on when she was driving, and I picked that up from her.
She also used to slide that bra right off when she got in the car.
Y'all remember going to the Christian bookstore and being there for hours?
Oh, yeah. Lord have mercy. The Christian
to find a
bookstore.
cassette tape.
Yeah.
And then the play that she wrote, Church Folk.
Yeah, I was gonna revise it and do do a production of it, and I've been working on it, but it's been a long time since I picked that up again.
Well, let's
Okay.
get it.
That's a lot of pressure. So, speaking of the quirks that she had, if you could think of one trait that you inherited from her, okay, for the sake of Tiara.
I was about to say, come on now.
Limit it to 3. All right, Tiara.
I got 3.
3 traits. What traits did you inherit from mommy? We'll start with Tiara.
Well, everyone who knows us personally knows that the ultimate trait that I inherited from my mother is my face. I stole her face. I'm little Phyllis, as everyone calls me. So her face is one, and I would kind of say her physique. I'm somewhat built like my mom. Another one would be her work ethic. And then just overall.
That was 3. Whoa.
No. Face and physique was together.
No, it wasn't.
All
right, we'll cut it.
Go ahead.
Let her have her bonus one.
You have 15 seconds.
I was just going to say just the intention to want to help people and choosing to work in the social and helping field. I definitely grabbed that from her.
I actually think we all did, because we're all in education. We started in education. Well, I didn't start in education, but we're all
same type of field though.
Yeah. And we all have a love and a passion to make sure that things are getting done right, and that we want to help people first.
Yeah.
All right, Tasha. That's not mine, but Tasha.
The first trait that I inherited from my mom was my ability to dance, because I can't, and my mama couldn't either.
Don't do that. She could two-step.
She could sway. Yeah.
That's about it. I be in the bathroom, kitchen, or whatever doing it, and I feel like I dance just like my mom.
Well, you know what? Tavia can't dance either, and
that's from my grandma.
It's stressful. It's very stressful. Dee says that Tavia dances like Elaine on Seinfeld, so you might have to Google it.
Yeah, because I don't know what it is.
Oh, when you see it's never going to leave your brain.
I didn't notice this until my aunts actually pointed it out. But another trait I inherited, I guess, is my mom's face, because I don't know if Ryan did something or her cousins did something, but I gave Ryan a look, and they said that's a straight Phyllis face. So yeah, obviously I inherited that. I must have received it so much that it just came naturally.
I didn't get this one, and I'm disappointed. I'll be trying it.
You got to practice in the mirror.
It doesn't work. Tavia will look right back at me.
The other one I would say was my ability to be resilient, because if you know my mama, she was pushing through, she was overcoming her situations, and I feel like if I didn't have her to show me that, I wouldn't be able to do the same.
Yeah. Yep. That's
Amen
true.
to that. Yeah.
That's what she was, certainly an example to us, because goodness. I mean, I guess God knew what he was doing though, because, you know, he knows the plans that he has for us, and he intentionally placed us under mommy's care, knowing that she would push through and get through all she did. And it kind of sucks that she died when she died, because I felt like that was her season for victory, because she was finally winning, like getting a job that paid a little bit more, like literally just started that job. And you know, it's just, it sucks. That's definitely when you question.
I have to make light of situations.
No, I get it.
I be having to make light of situations. So I be in my head like, if you didn't want to watch your grandkids, you could have said that. You could have just said that. You didn't have to die.
My God, and
Right. If you were sick of us, you could have just said.
Yeah, said that. Like, you're dramatic. We also
Like,
all inherited
dang.
that one, the dramatic part.
We also, I just went to college. Like, dang. If you ain't want to show me the ropes, you could have just gave me another mentor.
If you didn't want to pay for my graduation party.
that was it, Tasha. You got it. That was the reason. It was your graduation party.
It was that. You didn't want to give me a graduation party, Phyllis? Really?
She was over it.
That's weird.
Okay, so when we asked Tiffany what trait she inherited, and I agree with Tiffany's response, she inherited mommy's love for others. Now, Tiffany is so closed off that you would not know it.
You sure wouldn't. My baby swears she hates her.
What'd you say?
Ryan swears Tiffany doesn't like her. But we all know.
But
that's
like,
her baby.
Sometimes Tiffany will open up and you're just like, dang, you was thinking all that. And then other times you're like, so I just asked you the same question 5 times and you just gonna look at me and not respond to me. She did not do that.
You gotta catch her at a good time.
But she did inherit mommy's love for others, especially the babies. And also Tiffany inherited the humor from mommy too. But okay, so my traits that I inherited from her, I believe that I got my drive from mommy. Like, we watched her fight down any obstacles. It's kind of like the resilience, but also like resilience is more so something happened to you, you got back up and you kept moving. Drive is more so, I'm going to do what I have to do, whatever it takes to get where I'm trying to be. So, you know, I got my drive from her. I'm a visionary and a creative person, and that's from her. And, you know, she used to do crafts. She used to draw. She
Those
used
paper
to
mache earrings.
Yeah, I actually kind of want to do that. But like she made her own props for church folk.
I will say the crafty side, I think we took that from her.
And when she was working hard, she would sit there with her tongue out to the side. I remember that too.
Tavia does it too. So, you know, thank you, mommy, for all the things. Also, some of the bad things that we all inherited from her is our stubbornness and our mouths.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely,
there's that. But in a good way, our fight. Like, we're not going to let anybody walk over us. Because she didn't let anybody, and I mean anybody, I'm not going to go into details about that, but she wasn't about to stand and take it from anybody. So,
because remember
in the store.
Oh yeah, that was one of my memories. That's the memory I forgot. The Walmart trip.
Yep.
Like, we lived we'll say it wasn't anti-racist.
Predominantly.
It wasn't quite there. And we were in Walmart, and I think somebody was like basically accusing her of trying to steal something or just treating her. Was that it?
No, we walked into the line the wrong way, and a white lady walked in the regular way, so we let her go. And she
and she was like, "Don't y'all ever let nobody cut in front of you," and da 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 da.
Is that what it was?
Y'all are mixing two memories, because one was the one that Tasha's talking about with the lady in the line and mommy had to set her straight. And then the other one was the one that Tammy's talking about when she left us.
That's when she left us, because it was a cashier situation where the cashier was going back and forth with mommy, and we were trying to stop her from like being loud and embarrassing us, and she was mad at us, so she made us walk out, and then she came past us and got in the car and then left.
And I think she left us multiple times.
I think she left us because we was all arguing.
She left us a couple times at the store, because I remember we had to call Grandma about it.
Yeah,
Grandpa had to come and get us.
But that
And
was
I feel
because
like,
we was all fussing and arguing.
and not shoot. No, never mind. Anyway,
But
praise the Lord.
she wasn't standing for us being walked all over or her being walked all over. That's what we was getting at with that.
From
Right.
anybody.
So we did inherit her fight. So
Yeah.
thank you, Mommy, for all of those. Oh my gosh. But you know what? She was our advocate. So as parents,
Absolutely.
we see that what she was doing was really protecting us. And we took advantage of that, and we didn't see it as protection. We saw it as, you're embarrassing us. Stop it, Mommy, stop. And now as parents, we're
We
like,
see
I
it
have to
differently.
protect you from we have to protect our children from all angles,
Mm-hmm.
from people we love, from family members, from teachers, from the biases that people see, or that we were facing. We were the only Black kids in our classes. So yeah, we got a lot from her. Okay, so the last question, and this might get deeper than, we'll see. We'll just ask the question and find out. What is the greatest lesson you learned from Mommy? So I think we kind of touched on this a little bit when we were asking what trait did you inherit from Mommy. But I think the greatest lesson that I got, and I get it in a card, which I was able to capture a picture of, was Proverbs 3 and 5, 3, 5, and 6, which is trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not in your own understanding. And that was something that she put in my graduation card, and I didn't know how much I was going to need it. So that was one of the greatest lessons. But, thinking back about our lives growing up, it probably was a scripture that she used for her life, because there were a lot of times where she didn't know where something was coming from. She didn't know how rent was going to get paid. And I remember being in a neighborhood where neighbors would be calling on us because our dog was barking or because our grass was high. And there was always a threat to us where we lived. And she's already working 2-3 jobs just to make ends meet. So
Mm-hmm.
I believe that scripture was, nobody is going to be able to give you the answer or resolve the issue like God. So make sure that you're going to him first and seeking him and what it is that he wants. So that's the greatest lesson that I learned, but there's a lot of other lessons that came from her parenthood. Tasha,
Mm.
you're
My greatest lesson um, was how to be a strong Black woman, but also I'm going to rebuttal that a little bit because um, depending on how you look at the situation, to me, being a strong Black woman ultimately was her demise because she didn't want to she didn't want to ask for help. She wanted to, take care of things on her own. Um, yeah, that's my greatest lesson.
So I don't know if I'm allowed to share all of my lessons because, I always have multiple, but they kind of all just tie in at the end of the day. So, basically
If you
things
can
that
wrap it up in one story, psych, I'm just playing.
things that I've learned from my mom was just having the ability to give people grace, being your 100% authentic self and building genuine relationships with people that'll speak for your lifelong legacy, having a strong relationship with God, and just keeping him front and center of your life as the most important connection in everything that you do. And ultimately, like Tasha said, it was the lesson that we learned, but it could be seen as kind of the downfall as well, is just to push through the struggles until the very end. So those are the lifelong lessons that I hold with me.
Yeah, I definitely I wish we had more time because my relationship with mommy was very combative because I was, the rebellious teen, but I wasn't rebellious in behavior, but just rebellious in the parent dynamic, the parent-child dynamic. So, I thought that's what you were supposed to do. And I said this before, but teenagers are supposed to disagree with their moms and argue and go back and forth. And mommy and I were very much alike and very bullheaded. So we butt heads a lot. And the one thing I wish that I could do was go back and start appreciating her earlier because we were really becoming friends when I went to college. And I was like, I kind of like this person. She's pretty cool. I like her. She's not just my mom. She's like a person.
But it's like you needed to be out of the household in order for you to see that through a different lens and have a different perspective of it.
My mom was always my bestie.
What'd you say?
Okay,
I said my mom was always my bestie. That's why I was always going to second service with her. Plus, I knew she was going to feed me too, and I was fat. But that's the different topic.
Exactly.
That's my girl, and that's why I slept with her forever.
Well, you always was the baby.
Yeah, like the true definition of the baby of the family. Seriously. Okay, so what do you guys think that mommy's hopes and dreams for your future were?
We've never had this one-on-one conversation, but I would just say to find something that you are passionate about and comfortable with, and just taking the course that's going to keep you stable and, help you to find some form of success or happiness, so some type of peace with your decision.
I have no idea. But I know the life that I want for my child to have. And I would assume that my mom would want the same.
I know that she wanted us as sisters to make sure that we always had a bond and would continue to take care of one another and to, just be family and do what family's supposed to do, because that was one of the things that she mentioned to us. Like Tammy said, she was dropping little gems and little hints to us before it was her time. But none of us put the pieces together because we didn't know. Right. So she was alluding to that. And that is why I feel like we do push past some of the obstacles and, just the difficulties that we have whenever it comes to our differences, because we recognize that that was something that was important for her.
Mm-hmm.
On the lines of what Tiara said, she wanted to make sure that we came together and we weren't always arguing and we weren't always disagreeing with each other. I mean, we fought like siblings fought.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anything that we did was out of the norm, but she wanted us to understand the camaraderie. We all we got. I think that was her goal.
And she wanted us to know that there was much more to life out there, and just to kind of expand our horizons past what we thought we knew.
Right. Is there something about mommy that you think no one else knows?
I think mommy had a secret boyfriend somewhere along the line. I'm just saying, because you can't tell me you were single all them years. You wasn't always
There's
at
not that many church services to go to.
Phyllis
Don't
Ann.
do that, y'all. Don't discredit. Don't discredit her.
But it was our fault. Like, we were like, you can't date. You can't date. No. Meanwhile, as a single mom now, I'm like, what?
You wasn't spraying out white diamonds for nothing.
Don't do that.
But
you out here making my mama look like a hussy, and she was not.
It's all jokes aside.
I
think
think that she was starting to
dating.
date later, but she had those conversations with us. She was getting a feel for how we felt. Like, what would y'all do if I started dating? But there were plenty of people looking at
Who was
mommy. I
after
can remember
her.
those church van rides, and they were just giggling, he, Sister Phyllis, and da 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 da. And people had crushes on her,
And
and
maybe
I
that's
would be
why
like,
I
what'd you say?
unintentionally was going to the second services so I could block. Okay.
Oh, it wasn't because of your bond with mommy. It was
Oh
because
I
you
no.
mean,
were.
that too. And that was part of my bond.
I don't know. I don't think mommy had any real hidden secrets. Mommy had a lot of different connections and different relationships with so many people.
Different
Like,
dynamics.
yeah, different dynamics that I'm sure somebody on this earth knows a piece of everything about her. But she was very selective with who she shared certain things with. But I don't know, unless she was like a secret agent or something. I don't
I
think
don't
there's
think she
really
had.
anything that we didn't. No, she was
I
pretty
feel like she
transparent.
was. Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. She was
Because she was
transparent. Now, I think that she probably should have clued us in
on
a
some
little bit
things. Absolutely.
earlier. But, we didn't know that our relationship was going to get cut. I'm sure, almost positive, that she had intentions in sitting us down one day and telling us what happened. And then, we were challenged with the fact that, surprise, we're here. But anyway, I
Yeah.
digress. How do you guys think you're different now before or then before we lost her?
Um, well, for I would say all of us, we had to become adults on our own, to be honest, because I was
Yeah,
17, Tiara was 18, Tammy, you were what, 20?
20,
Tiffany was
22.
22.
we're still kids at that time. We had family that, were there for us, but we didn't have that parental figure. And it never you couldn't replace our mom, but we didn't have that and we had to learn on our own.
I think that my heartburn, I was in a training and they used that. The heartburn that I get from that position that you just took is that people assume that we got it and they just kind of let us fly. And it was like, there was no attempt to fill a void. And I think that was felt the most at the first holiday that we had. And, I might get grief for saying this, but I don't mind sharing my feelings. So, I'm not hiding anything. But I do believe that, when you're losing a parent, especially a parent, the only parent of a household, consider, you can't take the place of a parent, but how can we make you feel like you're still a part? So if anybody's listening and they ever wonder what a child might be thinking when they lose a parent, we know that you're not going to take the place. We don't want you to take the place, but there's still a void, especially during the holidays or when it's time to make decisions about finances and financial aid, that we still need a guide to walk us through. I know I felt like I took on a big responsibility at first with you, Tiara. And, I got a car immediately after so that I could make sure that you were at school. And then eventually people did help out, which was very helpful to me because I ain't have any money. Like, I was broke. I was a broke college student trying to run back and forth and make sure that you were home. And it was a lot of pressure on me as a 20-year-old who just lost their mom. So that's something to consider for any family members who have kids who are transitioning from childhood to adulthood who just lost a parent?
I think for me, maybe not before, but like right after compared to now, I have learned how to grieve more properly, because when it first happened, of course, I was a freshman in college. I had just got dropped off my 2 weeks prior to her passing. And then now it's like all of a sudden my mom's no longer here and I need to be a dependent student. And like you said, I feel like, there wasn't always that sense of support. But then I also just personally, I feel like I just jumped right back into school mentality. And I just kind of like suppressed my thoughts, and I didn't really take the time to like fully reflect on what was happening and assess like how this was going to affect my life. So now as an adult, like it's stuff that I deal with more heavily because I didn't deal with it at the time and in the moment. So I'll say that definitely has been something that, I've seen a difference with myself. And just like I said, I was very in denial during that whole phase, to the point where I don't even remember you coming to pick me up and take me back and forth to school, because there was just a lot of stuff that I blocked out during that time. So it was an experience.
It was easy to just block it out and really deal with it.
Yeah. But like now, the more I start, I'm able to like reflect back and start recalling like small details. So I am able to deal with it the correct way.
Is this conversation hard for y'all, or do you feel healed enough to?
I talk about it all the time, so it's not difficult for me. The difficulty for me is in the more intimate moments when I'm by myself and I'm thinking about just like what we miss out on.
To me, it's hard, but it's not like, oh, I can't do this hard. It's just thinking of what I don't have now. Like, it sucks. We miss out on a lot. She has great granddaughters that don't get to experience her. So the only thing we can do is tell them about her, but it doesn't hit the same.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the struggle for me. Just knowing that like, if I do have kids someday, like, she won't be here to witness that or be a part of that or to, help kind of guide through that. But yeah, I don't get triggered from the conversation. Like I said, it's like either in a memory or a thought of the future or a void that can't be filled.
So the next question, and I guess we could kind of just answer this one together. Do you think that we carried on any traditions or honors from mommy? It could either be in your parenting, Tasha, and even Tiara, who helps with Ryan a lot and helps with Tavia. Or it could be as a whole. Do you think that we carried on any traditions?
Yes. I think that as a whole, as the girls, we try to carry on the tradition of being the glue to the family and keeping the family together and keeping just us as a unit moving forward.
Right.
And I don't mean just us immediate as the sisters. I mean like our whole family, because mommy was the glue.
Mm-hmm. Tasha?
Yeah, I would have to agree with Tiara. Even, just dynamics in family relationships. Like, if you look at our daughters, Ryan and Toph, they're cousins, but when they're together, they act like sisters. So I think that's something that we got from her that we're showing them. They sure fight like they sisters.
And just correcting anybody in the family, any kid in the family. We're not just going to let it, like that was mommy, your family. So if I see something that needs to be corrected, I'ma step in.
The need for a Pepsi. Got
Oh,
you.
definitely. That's.
Tasha, you're bad about that.
I'm not. No, 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 no.
No,
I've
I
been
think
really
I'm
good since
actually
I've been on my health
worse.
kick, but I actually think I'm gonna go get one when we wrap this up in honor of my mom.
Yeah, the
Oh my
Pepsi, the
God.
sweets, the
I don't
naps.
whatever.
Gotta
Yeah,
take a
you
nap.
guys certainly take on the nap tradition.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
I definitely
Absolutely.
pulled the nap after Thanksgiving. I used to love after Thanksgiving because I would go up and lay down, or mommy would already be up there laying down, and we would just lay in the bed and watch a movie for like an hour or two and just be rocked. So that was one of my favorite memories, but also I still, Thanksgiving, I'm tired. Like, I don't eat a lot.
Did you
I'm
see
tired.
that?
And
Oh, the
I was
singing,
gonna
the people in
say,
the car part.
Oh, yeah. Directing
yeah,
in the car.
throwing on that music, that gospel music to clean.
You can't tell me I'm not a choir director in the shower.
Tavia was like, Mom, what are you doing with your hands? Honey, I'm directing. Why are you doing that? Because these parts need to be controlled. That's why. So she'll probably be directing too soon. I did direct the choir, and I think
Yeah,
that's one
you
of
did
her
officially.
proudest. Would you say?
I said, yeah, you did officially. I just did it
Yeah.
to my invisible choir at the house.
I think that was one of
And
her proudest moments of me.
me and Tammy, I think Batasha's starting to align with us, but it's the shopping, the shoes and the clothes galore.
Starting. What are you talking about?
Ta- Tasha's not as bad as us yet, but
First
I
of all,
will never be.
don't put me on blast. I'm
I'm
getting
just
better,
saying.
so she was gonna air out my
I,
dirty
I,
laundry.
I get that from my mama for sure.
And I, both Ryan and Tavia have that too. Like, what do we need to go to the store for? Why?
And we
Because you're
gonna
bored.
find us a sale.
The clearance rack is my tradition. I'm not shopping unless it's on sale. I'm sorry, how much is that shirt? Oh, I'm not. I'll find something that looks similar to it in the yellow tag.
Mm-hmm.
Wash your mind.
And I used to be able to stay in the mall or be in the stores all day, but now I can't tolerate it as much. But yeah, that was from her.
Well, that's beautiful. We have all these memories. I think we had a very good conversation, and um, we'll probably grieve later. I always grieve real randomly when I feel like I had a hard week as a parent and I don't realize how much I need her until I'm like in the middle of the night waking up thinking about her and had a dream and I like wake up crying. It's the grief comes real randomly at the worst time. Okay, so the last question before we move on to the last part of the episode. How would you say that mommy's image was perceived by people? Or how do you think she is remembered by others?
Like the greatest.
I was gonna say an angel on earth, God sent, like
Like the
literally.
greatest. Nobody can ever say anything bad.
Yeah. If you post a picture of her, a status of her, any kind of memory, and you just see like filter through all of the comments and stuff of people just saying like, your mom was just such a blessing to me. Your mom was so great. I just love your mom so much. Her energy, your mom was so kind. She was just a mentor to people. Like,
Right.
nobody ever had anything. I've never heard any negative perspectives or connotations about mommy ever from anybody.
Ever.
And that was one thing that stands out about mommy is that she wouldn't let you talk negative about other people.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which is actually biblical. Like, don't bring that to me. She definitely lived a life like Christ, but she wasn't like religious. And I appreciate that now as I understand it. You know, when you're a teenager and you're forced
She
to
was
sit in
real.
church, you're like, we're in church again. But mommy was not. She was an authentic person, and she exuded the love of Christ. So, all right, Tasha, go ahead and finish what you were saying.
I was just going to say she just had this aura, is it aura or aurora? Whichever one about her that just attracted people to her. Like Tiara was saying, people still to this day will comment on how great she was. Matter of fact, after the dream that I had about my mom, which was actually a couple of weeks ago, I went and I read her obituary on the website, and she died in 2007. 2013, people were still commenting on it.
Oh, wow.
So that just shows like how great of a woman you are. Like nobody, in my mind, nobody could ever match my mother. And I know there's a lot of great people in the world, but can't nobody top her.
And this might be an emotional episode for many people because of it. But, you know, she definitely, Aunt Tawana said it the best. And I stole her caption and put it on a picture of mommy. And I made sure I gave Aunt Tawana credit. But she said, when she walks into a room, dang it, what did she say?
She commands attention.
Right. Basically, yeah. Like without even saying anything, she demands that you pay attention to who she is. She demands that she's respected. She demands that her presence matters. And
but demanding it without demanding it, if that makes sense. It was just her.
She didn't have to say anything. She just,
You know how
right.
nowadays they'd be like, oh, I'm her. That was my mom. Like she was the OG of I'm her. She just showed it. She didn't have to say it.
Right. And I mean, I feel like when you don't have to say it, then you're real.
You really
like
are.
that's real. Like you really are that girl. Like,
yeah, you don't have to prove who you are.
So I know, like, even people who've never met her, the way we talk about her, they feel like they know who she is and they already love her. And it's like, you didn't even know her, but just because of who she was to other people and all I did was talk about it, you're like, I wish I knew her. Like, I needed to know her. You probably did, because she would have changed something in your life. But, you know, I think that was her life. That was her mission. She was a missionary by design. So, okay. So now it's time to play tea time. Tea time. Tea time. Tea time is a game of rapid fire. So I've come up with a bunch of questions. Some are deep, some are just for fun. This time, since there are two people playing, we will have 5 minutes to answer as many questions as we can, just so we can have a little insight into who our guests are. So, listeners, are you ready? Yeah. Sisters, are you ready? Sound effect.
Yeah.
They ready and got to get ready.
Hey, ready. Lord have mercy. Okay, so I'm going to start the clock. 5 minutes on the clock. And the first question goes to Tasha. At what age did you decide you wanted to become a mom, if at all? Why are you laughing so hard?
Because I never decided at 23 when I found out. I was like, well, I guess we're doing this.
Oh.
So you never thought about being a mom before that?
You know, in my mind, I was going to be married with the house. You remember that game, MASH?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
It never came true. I thought that I was going to have that.
I was going to be in a mansion.
Yeah.
Tiara, is the glass half full or half empty? Don't think so hard.
I'm going to say half empty and I'm going to refill it, especially if it's wine.
That was funny.
Okay.
Just saying.
Tasha, that actually was kind of funny. What's the best way to waste time?
Sleep.
I knew it. Tiara, when are you the most secure?
Right after I get paid. Listen.
And
Just
how?
saying.
Tasha, do you have a favorite weekend activity?
Sleep.
Sleep.
Okay, Tasha, let's think of something else. We don't want you to think, because now I'm going to have to refer you to EAP.
Okay. I like when me and my daughter go on our weekend dates, which we have one this weekend, and I can't wait for it. I'm excited.
Oh, that's so special. Tiara, what age was your favorite birthday?
Oh, 29th. When Tasha threw me a surprise painting with the twist.
Tasha, describe your life with a song.
Oh, God.
Oh, my gosh. It's not.
What's his name? Gnarls Barkley or CeeLo? Crazy. That's it. I'm going crazy. Yeah, that's my life.
That's why you sleep a lot.
Oh, God.
Tiara, do you believe in love at first sight?
Oh, as long as his sneakers are clean and don't have no crease in them.
Tasha,
Sorry, real shallow.
Very shallow. Introvert or extrovert?
Introvert.
Yes. Tiara, what is something you can't give up?
Sneakers.
Oh, yeah. Books.
Tasha, what is your favorite scent?
I don't know.
It doesn't have to be perfume. Just scent. Eucalyptus.
Mine is a good smelling man. Praise the Lord, everybody.
Something warm. That's not a good one. Put that one back. Pick another one.
Don't you like teak wood?
Mahogany teak wood because it smells like a man, and I don't got one.
Okay.
You said warm.
I know, that's my favorite. Tiara, preference, airplane or train? We already know this one.
Airplane.
Tasha, what age would you be for the rest of your life and why?
34, because something about this age, I feel like it's everything that I'm supposed to have, I'm going to have. So I'm going to stay this age.
Oh, praise God. Tiara, and not mommy, if you could talk to anyone from your past, who would it be?
Grandpa.
Aw. I should have said not grandpa. Oh, I just had it in my hand and I lost it. Tasha, what does family mean to you?
I don't know how to answer it. Love.
That's good. Tiara, I'm going to give you the last question. I stopped the timer. What emoji do you use the most?
The smiling one with the 3 hearts.
Not you have to place the hearts.
That's how much I use it.
So that was fun. Am I right?
It was.
That was fun.
That was fun. We did good.
Yeah, let's
we
do it
didn't
again. I'll get some
fight.
wine.
Okay, but not anytime soon because it was hard enough getting us together. So actually, it wasn't really that hard. It's just a matter of.
When I said over wine, I meant like in person.
I know, but like it's easier to edit this way. But anyway, so I wanted to say a huge thank you to my sisters for joining us on Nailed It Motherhood podcast. I believe that we had a very successful conversation. We got to share a conversation that I don't think I've ever been involved. Have you guys had a conversation with each other about this before?
We
Not to
have
this extent.
with friends, but yeah, never this in depth.
Yeah. And I think it's actually healthy to have this conversation because it keeps mommy's memory alive, which I don't think it will ever die. Like, she's that much ingrained in who we are that, I mean, I probably talk about her as much as I talk about Tavia. But so I want to thank you guys for making yourselves available. And I'm not saying that in the sense that Tiffany didn't make herself available, but this is just not something that Tiffany would do. I kind of expected that. But she still is very much a part of our unit. So shout out to Tiffany and thank you for answering the questions. If you're in the room and you hear me, hey girl, how you doing?
She is actually sitting here. She has been present the entire time. She can't hear because I have the headphones, but she's been
like, tell her to say hey.
Tiffany, hold on.
She gonna say
hey real quick.
Hi.
Did I call it? I just got the vowel sound wrong.
If Tasha's the introvert, Tiffany's the introvert times 10.
Hilarious. Sure. But so thank you guys for coming on and pouring out your hearts. I know it's not really easy to talk about somebody who was so significant in our lives that we lost. But, you know, I believe that having this conversation, like I said, it heals us, but it also provides a platform for other people to just remember those that they've lost. And I think it's important to know why we are the people that we are. And on this platform, I am the mom that I am because of Phyllis. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that I am carrying on very, very much of how she parented me into my parenting styles and tactics with Tavia.
Absolutely.
I don't think she did anything wrong. Like, I really don't. Like, I used to get popped because I had a smart mouth. Yeah, we know. But I deserved it. So for the people that are like, abuse, hush up. I said it, okay?
Popped in her mouth, standing in the corner till I was 18.
I did. I stood in the corner a lot.
She was good for that.
Making us
I do joke around now, and I say my lips are still swollen to this day because I used to get popped all the time. So
if you want to toss a shoe across the room with no aim, you know what I mean?
Now, I'm trying to convince the listeners that our mom did not abuse us.
She was a woman of God, okay? Yes.
Because she didn't. Amen. She didn't abuse us, but she disciplined us. And I mean,
and it wasn't even crazy.
No. So, I mean, and let's just think of the circumstance. She was one woman
with
four girls, and not one of us had a little personality. None of us. I don't care how introverted that we say Tiffany is. Tiffany had a big personality.
We all were stubborn.
Tiffany tried to rise up to mommy a couple times.
Okay.
Too. So, and I remember, this is another memory. I know we're closing out. I tried to stand up for Tiffany one time because they were in my way. They were in front of my room and Tiffany was getting smart with mommy. And I told mommy to stop. Stop, mom, stop. And mommy made me take Tiffany's beating that she earned. But I bared the cross for Tiffany.
Well,
because I tried to advocate for her.
Should have kept the
way.
Jesus. But
yeah.
So thank you. And I will actually give y'all an opportunity if you want to share some closing words before we head on out.
Thank you for having us. It was a pleasure. And I also wanted to say that I am proud of you for starting this platform because it is definitely needed. So thank you for that as well.
No problem.
Yeah, I was kind of just going to say the same thing. I do want to just thank you for, extending the invite and including us in your precious baby, and just allowing God to, put it on your heart to use your gifts and give people this platform that you're able to connect with other people and just, like you said, share the recipe of motherhood that is very much needed amongst all of you. And one day I aspire to be a mother, and that compares even just a little
Are you
bit
sure
to my
about
two
that, Tiara?
siblings right now. I mean, I've always wanted kids, but
This is the time to get out.
I do like to kind of spend my funds on myself, and I like being auntie. So, but I just admire, what I see from you two being mothers, and I hope that you guys know just how great you guys do with your daughters, and just that nothing goes unseen. It definitely is admirable to watch.
Thanks,
Oh, that's so
Pookie.
special. That is
Yeah.
so special. And that just is like very befitting that you have a desire to be a mom and that you have watched our motherhood, because this is the Mother's Day special. But fathers, don't fret. We have something special coming for you too. We also have an upcoming mom of an NBA player who has a wealth of wisdom as a former educator and now an educator educating educators. That was fun. I felt like Dr. Seuss. But just pay attention, because we've got some great, fantastic things coming down the line. So if you liked our episode, please continue to tune in, because I do plan on having more like that this episode, including the next episode, which is a baby bath. Yay! But don't forget to subscribe to my social media, Nailed It Motherhood Podcast, on Instagram and Facebook. I have a TikTok page and I'm working on it, but follow on Instagram and Facebook first. Also, find us on your favorite podcast platform, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, and make sure you like, subscribe, and rate. You can also be a guest on the podcast by completing a guest application. So, Tasha, I hope to see you soon. The link is in the bio. We welcome your questions, comments, and ideas, and we certainly hope to keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep on doing what it is you do, because you might have the recipe that nobody wrote down. Smooches! You and this burp, 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 burp. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.